Well, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode this week of Allison Unfiltered. We have been talking about the 19 hard things I do to be successful, and I hope you guys had a great week this last week. Gosh, there's just been so much happening here. So I want to get to let's get to the part. Let's do the work first, and then we'll get to the fun part of all the things that have been happening. It's just been crazy town around here. So we've been doing these 19 Hard Things by David John Kay. We've been talking about that. And we're at number 17. I don't know if it's a beating or not for you guys to listen to this and me read through them, but if you missed some of the episodes, then maybe this helps. I don't know. So I'm going to go through them pretty quick. I make the call I'm afraid to make. I get up earlier than I want to get up. I give more than I get in return right away. I care more about others than they care about me. I fight when I'm already injured, bloody, and sore. I feel unsure and insecure when playing it safe seems smarter. I lead when no one else is following me yet. I invest in myself even though no one else is. I look like a fool when I'm looking for answers I don't have. I grind out the details when it's easier to shrug them off. I deliver results when making excuses is an option. I search for my own explanations even when I'm told to accept the facts. I make mistakes and look like an idiot. I try and fail and try again. I run faster even though I'm out of breath. I am kind to people who have been cruel to me. And number 17 is I meet deadlines that are unreasonable and deliver results that are unparalleled. So let's talk about that because, someone on our team, one of the girls on our team posted a picture today in our team chat, and it said goals are dreams with deadlines. And I was thinking, we don't really have deadlines in this business. I mean, I guess there are some deadlines, right? To earn the free trip every year, we have to do so much by September 30th of each year. So I guess there are some deadlines, right? And if you are creating those goals, but it's not like a deadline at an office for a project necessarily, but there's still stress there. There's still stress of a deadline. We have things called quick start bonuses where when people first sign up and they help other people get started, if they sign up 4 people within a certain amount of volume in their first 30 days, they get a $200 bonus. So yeah, I mean, I guess there are some deadlines in this. I think there's not a whole lot, right? But I guess I was thinking in more of on a bigger scale. I don't know where that yawn just came from. I'm so sorry. Um, I have been on an 8-day jump start and my energy is low, low, low. I am ready for some carbs on Wednesday for sure. It's our anniversary on Wednesday, 14 whole years. A little squirrel moment, but that yawn caught me off guard. So anyway, I don't think we really have as in ranks and titles, right? We set goals, what we want to achieve the next month. But those aren't really deadlines because I think sometimes we're not in control of that. Well, actually, I know that we're not in control of that most of the time, right? Most of the time, well, all the time. You remember that thing we talked about pride and how it's one of the hardest things for me to just hand over the steering wheel to Jesus and be like, just take the wheel, but can you take a left over here? That's my pride that gets in the way. So when truly we have no control over this. Like we can work, right? We have the tools that we need. But if you don't put those tools to work and listen, God gave you these tools, right? They're here. But if you don't do the work, then what happens? What happens to your business? What happens to your business if you fall off the wagon for 2 weeks? We talked about that. The locomotive, the steam engine, like you can't start and stop it and start and stop it. You have to keep going. So does some of it seem unreasonable? Sure. Maybe. Not really though. Right? So let me break this down. To earn a trip, with Xyngular. It's like a yearly Founders Club trip. To earn that, you need 8 people in a matter of a year, and you need to help them get to their quick start bonus for 5 of them, and 3 of them their first rank as manager. Y'all listen, I used to knock these out all the time. Like it was easy as pie. It's not as easy anymore. And I'm not sure what's happening. The only thing my brain keeps going to is like I keep hearing in my head, like everything's just frozen, right? Everybody, I feel like this whole country is just frozen. And in 6 months we'll know our fate. You know? I feel like we're kind of all God, this might not be the best analogy, but I feel like we're all sitting on death row. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we're sitting on death row, and in 6 months, we're going to know whether we're going to be executed or whether we're going to have a reprieve. I mean, think about that. I don't normally get political on here, but I mean, I think we can all agree on one thing, that the last 4 years has been absolutely devastating to our economic system in our country. Absolutely devastating. Uh, and that's what I feel like the country's just frozen. We're all just sitting on death row, waiting to see what the freak is gonna happen, because if they take 4 more years of office, I I don't even know what we'll do. That's one of the scariest things in the whole world. We need somebody that can run this country like a business, like it's supposed to be run. That's what it was meant for in the beginning, anyway. Or the people. But it's everything's so shady and so scandalous now, and it's just gross. But now that I think about that, Danny and I have been watching The Chosen. It's really, really good. If you haven't watched it, it's such a great series. And I find it so interesting that there's controversy about it. Like, there's a legal action. So, season 4 hasn't even been released, but there's supposed to be 8 seasons. But season 4 is kind of like under attack controversially and politically. And I'm dying to know specifically what that's about, because now that I'm into the show, I can't imagine them not telling Jesus' story, right? And so Danny and I were talking about this, but the politics and the shadiness, it goes back to day one. It goes all the way back to the Roman times, like all of it. It is crazy town. Um, and I know that's totally off the subject, but I feel like that's a deadline. I feel like this November and this election for this year is a deadline. Like, we're either gonna make it. It's either gonna make us or break us, right? Because we're all pretty broken right now. I mean, there's so many people in credit card debt and all the things, and that's what blows my mind is here I am offering like people an opportunity. I talked to a girl today that she doesn't know how she's gonna get the money to do another month of this. I'm like, well, I can show you how to do that. Oh no, I don't want to do that. My friends won't do it. You don't know that. Like, you're just scared of the rejection. You don't actually know what's gonna happen. But what would happen if you took a chance? Like, what if you put some money in your pocket and you could pay for your products, right? All in 1 month. Because that's possible with this. I do it every month. I'm not a lie. I'm not a fake. I'm not a phony. I'm not a pyramid scheme, right? I freaking make more money doing this, even still with the economy slow, than I would sitting at a desk for a full-time job. Why wouldn't I do this from my swimming pool? The people are just so scared. They're just frozen in fear. And when we're frozen in fear, we don't have faith. And if we don't have faith in God, what do we have? Right? I think this country just needs to get back to some basics. Yeah, like Be nice to people. Read your Bible. Be nice to people. That too. Um, so like I said, I feel like maybe we have a deadline, but when it comes to business, let's say you are in corporate America and you have deadlines. Okay, so let's talk about that. I meet deadlines that are unreasonable and deliver results that are unparalleled. Do you? Or do you just half-ass it? Because here's what we find, right? Here's the biggest struggle in what we find. Um, and I've talked to one of my kids about this too. The more you do, like the more capable that you are, the more responsibility you get. 110,000%. And I'm a workhorse. Several of my kids are workhorses too, right? And so they get a lot of responsibility stacked on them, and then they watch these other people just doing nothing for the same amount of pay. And how is that? How is that right? Just is what it is, right? So if you are the person that meets deadlines that are unreasonable, you're probably the person that they come to the most because they know you can get it done. And that's a good thing, right? But it's also really frustrating for people like us because we get tired, right? But even though we get tired, we just keep going. I don't know how, but we do. It's just crazy. Um, but let's talk about the results part. Because here's what I can say. I may not have a lot of deadlines, but I'll always deliver results. I'm always on top of it, taking care of my people, doing what I need to do every day, regardless of what's going on, regardless of the crazy. I make time for my business, period. It is a non-negotiable. A non-negotiable. Danny and I are going to go on vacation and looking forward to it. And, he knows that work is a non-negotiable. We'll get up in the morning, we'll, grab some breakfast, we'll work out, and then we will sit in the hotel room until we get our work done, and then we'll go out and play, right? Because what happens at the end of the day if you procrastinate doing the work? Well, then your people don't get taken care of, and then you get to the end of the day and you're like, yeah, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then where does that leave you tomorrow, right? It leaves you in a bad spot for tomorrow with twice as much to do. And then it just like, it just doubles up on itself, and then it becomes overwhelming. And that's what happens so much. But if you would make this a non-negotiable, right? Because it's your job, it's a job, it's a commitment that you made to people. If you'd make it a non-negotiable, it would be one. Because I assure you, everybody's got a few minutes in their day to work their business. Danny says this all the time. He said, even on the day of my funeral, my wife will work her business, period. And the answer is yes, because I am consistent, and because that's what keeps the money rolling into our bank account so we can put food on the table and pay our bills. I mean, it's the same thing. You go to work every day. Why? Well, because you get a paycheck. Well, what does that paycheck do for you? Well, it helps pay the bills and put food on the table. It's the same difference. This is just a way to make it faster, and you can make a whole lot more. So why not? I don't know. I just don't get it. I think a lot of it boils down to laziness. Human beings are just naturally lazy, and they just don't want to. They want to do what they want to do when they want to do, and then that's why you're living the life you're living in a struggle, right? Oh, what is that saying? Oh gosh. Hold on. I'll find it. Give me a second. Uh, living, living the easy way. Oh gosh. Hold on. I'm gonna find it. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Life is easy when you live it the hard way, and hard when you live it the easy way. It's so true. 100% true. Okay. All right. So that's enough about business because I want to talk about some fun stuff and some great things that happened this week. And I don't know if I have a whole lot more to say on deadlines. But I do have a lot to say on some things that have been happening. One of my favorite things to do every day is look back at my memories on Facebook. I have used Facebook probably for more dirty laundry than I should have in the beginning when Facebook came out. Yeah, it's funny that this is titled Allison Unfiltered, and I'm a lot more filtered than I used to be. Well, to a degree. But one of my favorite things is looking back at memories. And yesterday and today were some significant memories for us. So I told the story of my best friend's son who died in a car accident when he was 19. It was 7 years ago. We just had the anniversary of that on the 11th this month. And I was looking through my memories today, and on the 20th today, 7 years ago, we held his funeral. Well, his parents held his funeral. And we were all together, it was this group, this family of us, right? It was me and Kelly and Dixie and Brad and Zach and Samantha and Gage and Brighton. I mean, that was it. That was our crew. That was our core. Those are the people that we depended on. Those are the people that helped us through hard times in parenting. We didn't go to our parents, we went to each other. I'm not saying that was the best choice, and we all knew, but for the most part, we were all single moms. And so we raised our kids together. We were best friends in high school. We stuck through it. We've been through hard times, but that's our circle. And so it came up also in my memories that, okay, so today, 7 years ago, is when we were having Brad's funeral. 4 years previous to that, uh, we were at our house with all the kids. Like our core group was together, just hanging out, enjoying time together, spending time together. And it's one of the last pictures of all 5 of our kids together in one picture. And it was literally like, how ironic is that 4 years to the day, like you never know what's coming, right? But 4 years from that date is the day that we would all come together for a funeral for one of those kids. Ugh, just freaking gut wrenching, right? I mean, it was, once again, my pride getting in the way because I just want to say it was such a useless death, a pointless death. I mean, I guess God needed him for something, but man, that was that was a that was a hard loss. Um. So anyway, another one of the memories that came up also was, and this is hard stuff, y'all. So, and it's hard for me to talk about, so that's why I'm pausing because I want to I want to make sure I'm using my words correctly and my thoughts are in order. Um, so this was also, like I said, Danny and mine's anniversary is on Wednesday. It'll be 14 years that we've been married. And I've talked about the story on here before, but 3 days before our 1 year anniversary, so that would have been yesterday, 13 years ago, we actually split up and things were awful. and we thought we were in such a good place. You know, we did the inventory with the pastor at the church, and he's like, you guys are 90% compatible. The only thing you disagree on really is the discipline of the kids. And that's because I was a single mom for a long time and I parented out of guilt. And Danny just, he saw it. Like, I wasn't consistent and parented out of guilt, and he saw it. And, you know, God knew that I needed him to help me be more of a better mom and more consistent and more um, standing my ground with my kids instead of letting them run all over me, you know? And so things just went bad real fast. And he moved out and we lived apart for 8 months. And we went to counseling individually. We went to, we went to counseling individually. We went to counseling together. And our pastor suggested the greatest thing in the whole world, and that was 7 days of no contact. And that 7 days, there was no contact. We had to remove them from Facebook, take them out of our phone, the whole 9 yards, like the person didn't exist anymore, like they had died and didn't exist. Okay. And we did that. And he said, if you get to the end of that 7 days and you realize that, um, you can live without that person, then it's time to move on. Go ahead and go through with the divorce. But if you get to the end of that 7 days and you realize that you can't live without that person and you're not okay without that person, then it's time to fight for your marriage. We got to the end of that 7 days and we wanted to fight for our marriage. It was a miserable 7 days. I couldn't imagine my life without him. Absolutely not. We had to figure out how to fix it, and we did. And we have been stronger for it. Oh my gosh, like way stronger for it. It was the best thing that ever happened to us. But it came up in my memories today that I guess all the things happened on the 19th, and then on the 20th is when he started moving his stuff out of the house. Because he'd gone and gotten an apartment. Like, he signed a year lease in an apartment. Like, he was done. Whew, man, like when Danny makes a decision, it's a done deal. But I posted, and this makes my heart it makes my guts turn inside out when I read this every year. It says, sitting outside, looking in, everything still looks the same until I open the door. And I remember that moment. I was sitting out on the patio and I was just so distraught and so upset and so angry and all the feelings, right? And everything looked normal, like from sitting at my patio, just and looking at the back door and the window and stuff, everything looked normal. And then you open the door and it's, you know, the dining room table was gone and there was just a card table for me and the kids, and, you know, just all the things, right? All the things that had changed, you know, because we had to split up stuff. Just, it was just gross. But I want you to know that if we can make it through it, you can make it through it. So if you're somebody that's struggling, I don't know, maybe try 7 days of no contact. If you're struggling in a relationship, try it. See what you think. We've had some other people that we know try it, and it was a great thing for them too. But you have to be real serious and committed to it. You can't just half-ass it. And then another thing that came up in my memories, and I'm going to end this on a lighter note, but the other thing that came up in my memories was Harold. I don't know if y'all remember, but Harold was the little robin redbreast that we fell out of his nest and we rescued and hand fed him and sent him back out into the world. And he came up, it was a year ago yesterday that we released him. I'm sorry, a year ago Saturday that we released him. And that came up in my memories. And what's ironic about that is Danny and I got to experience one of the coolest things ever with the ministry that I'm a part of, Luke 17:10. There are some kids at the Smith County Juvenile Detention Center that decided to accept Christ as their Savior. And they got baptized that day. And it was all the volunteers that have worked with these kids, and we got to witness the baptism. And it was the coolest thing. There were 6 of them. Some of their parents were there. Some of them weren't. It made me sad for the kids that their parents weren't there. Gosh, that made me so sad because it's such a monumental moment for these kids, right? They're probably somewhere between the age of 14 and 17. So that's a pretty big deal. But I mean, we sang Lauren Daigle, or they played Lauren Daigle, You Say, and I can't get through that song without just tearing up. And then there was another song called Mosaic, and that was a man. If you've had a shady past, that song is something you should really listen to. I can't remember who it's by, but it's a really good song. Anyway, we saw these kids and they got baptized, and it was just such a beautiful experience. And then at the end of it, everyone was congratulating the kids and sitting around and visiting and stuff. And there's this little baby bird, and it looked like it was having a hard time. It was struggling, and I think it was a baby dove. I'm not for sure. But I got to hold this baby bird like a year from when I held Harold last. And it was just like, I don't know, I just feel like God was just in that moment. And then right after the boys were baptized, like I'm not even kidding you, within 2 minutes of everyone sitting down, there were, I don't even think it was 2 minutes, I think it was like a minute later, there were 3 white doves that flew over where we were. And it was a beautiful blue sky, so they stood out and they were just like in succession, and it was just so cool. It was like God knew and sent a sign. It was just really cool. um so a lot of stuff happened this weekend that, I don't know, just made me think about how important it is to have a relationship with Jesus. And I was talking to the chaplain of the detention center, and it just warmed my heart because I've never actually met her. She's there during the day, we're there in the evening, she's already gone, but she's heard about me and I've heard about her. So I was ecstatic to get to meet her. She is one of the most precious people on the planet. Like, no wonder she's doing God's work, right? And she said, I know your name and I hear your name all the time from the girls, and they love you. And like what you say resonates with them and it makes them think about it. You just bring like a real world um, take on all of this for them. And they're so grateful for you. Not just like that made my whole day. Like, it was awesome. It was so awesome. Whew. So yeah, it's been a lot. Last thing I want to say is Gage's little puppy Hazel. She is doing better. She had emergency surgery on Friday because they don't know what she ate, but she was throwing up. Her stomach was big and gigantic. And they took her to the vet, and lo and behold, there was something in her stomach. You could see it in the x-rays. They did emergency $3,000 surgery on an 8-month-old puppy. Holy smokes. And she's okay. They pulled out wadded up paper towel that had expanded in her tummy, and also mulch and dirt. She's a mulch eater. Oh my gosh. So the boys have learned. They have lids on all the trash cans, even in the bathrooms. Babies are hard, puppies are hard. You got to puppy proof everything and baby proof everything. But she is going to be okay. Um, you know, that's a lot of money to try to recover for a 20-year-old um, who's just now out on his own, hasn't even been out on his own 6 months barely. So if you feel the need, there is a GoFundMe set up for Gage and to help recover some of the money from Hazel's surgery, because that was really unexpected. And I will tell you that most adults don't even have $3,000 sitting in a bank account to be able to pay for something like that for their dog. So anyway, it's out there. If you feel like donating, please do, and we thank you. And if you don't, that's okay too. Just pray for her recovery. That's all that we ask. And if you see the GoFundMe and you know of like dog groups and things like that, if you'll share it, that would be awesome too. Seriously. Um, anyway, gosh, I can't believe it's already May. I don't think there's going to be a podcast next week. I'm not sure, but I'm going on vacation, so I may take a week off. I may take a pause for a week and just give myself a minute. It's probably what's going to happen, just so you know. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please do me a favor and share this podcast if it connects with you or resonates with you. Share it with somebody that you know, because that's the only way this gets out there. Okay. Love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Peace out, homies.